Hi, I'm Old Man Sugarheart. Today we're playing Sovereign Syndicate. We're starting Chapter 4. I think we're all done with the character intros, and so it's time to get to the bottom of these mysteries, like where are the missing orphans and missing prostitutes? Or, no, sorry. They found the prostitutes. They're murdered. Let's see. Having been roughly roused from drunken oblivion in Beggar's Lane, a masked stranger compelled you to pay a visit to the Red Lotus. There, he revealed your mother, Matilda, may still be alive. You've reached a new bottom. Perhaps this is the motivation you need to start climbing back up. Daylight streams through the windows in your garret. You must have slept a long time, woken from the tremors of a terrible gin hangover. You remember the masked stranger gave you an ultimatum last night. Recall a few childhood memories, take a deadly dose, so that you could collect the bounty on your head. You sailed back to the Sacred Heart orphanage on an opium dream, but the images swim away from you now in the sleepy dawn. Today you must return to the orphanage to see if your mother's name is still on file. If it is, you have a chance to save her from the mental institution where she's apparently being held. Yeah. Ooh, there's lots of stuff here. Note. Is that from the masked stranger, I bet? What's this? A note from Angelina. She must have left it while I was out. It reads, "Don't delude yourself into thinking I forgot about your rent. If you don't want me to come knocking, then you better pay up soon." That woman won't quit nagging me. Atticus, Angelina's been a fair landlady. You don't want to get thrown out on the street, do you? That crone won't quit either. Better take care of my outstanding rent to Angelina. It's not all that much tin, and a roof over my head is a necessity. I'll get the money somehow. I mean, like, still gotta pay rent. Let's look out the window. The inside of the old aboof is dusty, and the outside is patinated with smoke from the factories, but the glazing bars are well made, and the double panes keep out the frost. How about flicking the snib? Could use some fresh air. Let's open it slightly. I just can't resist flicking a good snib, you know? Should I ponder the scenery? Why not? I could use a break. In the distance is the docklands, where the boil and bluster of steam power reigns supreme. The hammer and the nail of the burgeoning industry and the bleeding cry of the air horns on the steam freighters at the wharf. Deliverance from something? But what exactly? Deliverance from the humdrum repetition of routine. Progress is progress, no matter the form it takes. Any road, it was nice to have a moment to myself. Right? Gotta take those moments. Dust rises up in the beam of daylight, reminding you how reliably unclean your desk is. I feel attacked. Me and my tendency to neglect things. Here. Let's have a look. There's desiccated vellum, dried up reservoir pens, and a few glass jars. Imitation vellum, I hope. The real stuff is made from calfskin. My poor brothers. Anyway, there's nothing mind altering in the desk. I must have cleaned up my reserves. Keep looking. Not even some powder cocaine in the cracks? Nothing to raise a hair, not with my tolerance. But there's something small here at the back of the drawer. Your mother's ring. The only heirloom you ever had. A silver band with a small sapphire. was folded in your blankets when you arrived at the orphanage. Instead of pawning my ring to cover the costs, Heloise let me decide what to do with it. This ring knows more about my mother than I do, or... Heloise gave me this when I came to age. I remember we were sitting in the courtyard. I saved it all these years, never knowing what to do with it. Let's take it. I need to prove to my mom that I'm, hers. Better take this with me. Wardrobe? What's this god-awful thing again? Good place for your garments, dear fellow. A respectable cove must be able to dress for any occasion. Stilted way of speaking, this one. Wardrobe, I'm an antique. Why is this wardrobe talking to me? This wardrobe has seen many sots, what's a sot? Drunkards come and go, and so many hearts spilled on the pages by starving poets. It must have soaked up those emotions and developed some of its own. I like to believe that, otherwise it's yet another voice in my head. Let's wrench it open. The wood paneling shakes as I open the sticky door. Careful, Angelina will charge me. How could I forget? My landlady has the eyes of a hawk. Inside the wardrobe is a wasteland of dust and spiders. Some time ago, my racks were replete with the finest silks, satins, and linens, bespoke waistcoats and pantalettes softer than lambskin. Do I sense bitterness from this wardrobe? The wardrobe is upset, and it's no small wonder. I sold all my outfits to pay for the last bender. And it was fantastic. Anyhow, I picked up Nostrum to detoxify. Right, I've got a bone to pick with that peddler. Nothing but salinated water and snake oil. Ended up needing it and emergency dosed from Bixby. Labeling to yourself again? Well, I wish you'd fix the cracks in my fastening. Rather drafty. Illusionist. Only thing to do here is to cast my illusion. Sight from fire, hearing from the ether, smell from the air, and taste from the water. Touch down to the earth in another form. Bully! Still haven't lost my edge. Yeah, there we go. Now I look classy. I went the illusionist route, so I'm going to do that every chance I get. Right then. Lovely smell of books and all that, but you don't have time. You don't have any interests aside from magical lore. How about a novel? Stories? Nah, thanks. I tend to get lost in them. Read the titles. Whoa. The Minotaur and Me, The Travels with My Beastie, The Greatest Magicians, Illusionist for Thickos, Spellcasting 101, The Minotaur's Assistant, All You Ever Need to Know About Magic, Painless Potions and Helpful Hexes, Perilous Potions and Harmful Hexes, Ritual, World History, Panic and Peril, The Politics of Human and Beastly Relations, Ectoplasm, Spiritual Prophets, How to Train Your Pixie. Alright. We did the things. The condemned side alley of a poor part of London where the public services are infrequent and the children play in the filthy streets, unwatched by their parents working all day at the factories. Cheap wooden shutters hang from the shattered holes of looted tenements. Like so many black eyes after a night of bar fights, old rags stretch along the clotheslines and rats make their home in the rubbish. Aside from your garret and the curio shop, there isn't much worth visiting here, leaving you to tread the mucky road with your collar to the wind, looking just about as hopeless as the residents themselves. It's in the bin. Weather-beaten receptacle disposing of refuse. I'd like to reduce the general filth of the East End. I can rid myself of unwanted items here. Oh, I could throw out my mother's ring. Nah. I'm gonna hang on to my stuff, thank you. Like, I assume some of these things will be needed. Rotten fruit, burned building. Avenir. There's a smell of burnt tallow in the air, and a wash tub in the rubble. Perhaps it was laundry, and they forgot to pay Molly her protection money last month. No, this has to be just a house. But this room may have been the washroom. Even if there was anything salvageable in the rubble, it'd take a team of oxen to lift this crossbeam. I'm bloody strong, but not that strong. Unusually clear puddle. An uncommonly handsome specimen of Homo sapiens gazes up perfectly from the water. I used to feel I was in my control of my life. Now everything's touch and go. Get back to the straight and narrow. I must get back. I used to hustle quite a crowd with my sad sidewalk magic shows and earn enough to buy myself a title, but it was an honest living. No time for that now. I must clear up my business with the orphanage. After that, we'll see. Yeah, let's just go to the orphanage. As much as I'd like to look at every single thing, a rail station is just down the block from here. Head to the station. We'll head to the cable street. So, there's probably a huge benefit to looking at every single thing because you can find things to help you along the way. But at the same time, like, you could grab stuff and then, like, on the next character, you don't find that stuff because, you know, it was taken by the previous character. The Sacred Heart Orphanage sits on a large piece of land off Cable Street, gifted to the parish by a noble family who left for the countryside. The street doesn't get much foot traffic aside from the odd vagrant, and the orphans make a pastime of throwing pebbles and rotten fruit from behind the gates, especially at the well-heeled. At the moment, you're one of the few people here. Ivy clings where it can to the chipped and crumbling red brick facade, climbing to the highest reaches where the church belfry is shuttered by pine flats. There was ever glass that was shattered long ago by a mischievous child. He stepped free of the morning mist onto the curved street. The orphanage towers above the dry grass and dusty flat premises inside the gates. The landscape is even more neglected than when you lived here. Grab the gears. By the grain sack. The sack could hold a great quality of grain without tearing. Quality workmanship. Yet you see them everywhere. Grain sack weavers must be among the most underappreciated artisans. I agree with that. Oh, a broken automaton. Rusted and cast aside, this automaton isn't worth more than its weight in scrap metal. Scavengers must have picked out whatever the inner workings were valuable. Now he's just a shell. Poor fellow's really been through the ringer. Oh, these are the old school mailboxes. The Royal Mail Service. A postman still hand delivers plenty of mail, but if the distance is significant, an automaton carrier pigeon dispatches the letters after being sorted at the local office. Didn't send Matt any letters during my time here. Probably none, in fact. Oh, horsies. Oh, horsies. The cows of the street. Are you a pair of handsome fellows? I'm lucky. They don't use minotaurs as working animals anymore. Hold up, Atik, isn't there something you're forgetting? What's that? To have any chance of all getting a peek at the records, you need to first prove who you are. You're currently in your human form. Yeah, of course. Time for my incantation. Sight from fire, hearing from my aether, smell from the air, and to taste the water. Touch down to earth in another form. There. Now on to more pressing matters. Got a nasty scrape on that gate years ago. Glad it's open now. I mean, I got my mother's ring. It's in the shack. Hey, Rike, how are you doing? Splintered and worn down like everything else around here. Hope you're having a good time. Bloody crow, Copper's on the watch. Patience. Just have to use my wits to get inside, or scare him off. I mean, I've got valid business for being here. Oh, right, but there's a bounty on my head. You're fine? Good. Good to hear. Ah, the good old cellar door. I could make my way inside without a key, though I'd have to get past the padlock first. Smashing the lock. That seems brutal. Maybe I can find the key. Like how the game made me like fix my illusion. Just in time for me to not be able to sneak my way inside. A worn stone bench with a modest bit of scrollwork. Used to sit here with Eloise. It's a balled up piece of paper below it. There's a reminder at the bottom. Whoever is swapping out the mousetraps in the cellar will recall that the keys are kept in the groundskeeper's shack. Oh, nice. Same angel from my opium dream. More weathered than in my memory. Do I play the characters in the same order? You need a new sound alert to replace Riley? Yeah. So, what I want to do is commission an artist to draw like a picture of my cat. And then I was thinking of having his head pop in and like having his head flap off like one of the Canadians in South Park. And like I could get all sorts of like sound bites for him. Figure that would be entertaining. As for playing the characters in the same order, so far it seems like it. Chapter 1 we were the Minotaur. Chapter 2 Victorian space prostitute. Chapter 3 was Teddy Redgrave, the dwarf engineer. And now we're back to the minotorphan. Like, and I think time-lapse is actually kind of working that way too. So I'm wondering if it's like Minotaur in the morning, Lady in the afternoon, and then Teddy in the evening. And then next day we just do it all again. Alright. I'm gonna leave the children alone. I don't want to startle kids. You don't just talk to random kids. Let's grab the keys. Dark in there. Don't like it. It'll just take a moment. Ah, the keys weren't even hidden. Right on the hook behind the door. Probably return these keys later. Maybe to someone in charge. Someone who might even hide them a little better. Any road. Be able to use the cellar door now. I actually kind of like my guy's walk. Alright, let's go. Through the creaking hatch and down the narrow wooden steps you descend into an equally narrow passage. You hold your breath for a moment against the cloying smells of earth and vermin and trail one hand along the wall during your brief sojourn into the dark. But soon enough you found the second set of stairs and a welcome silver light from the cracked door above. Even with the high ceilings, there's somehow an atmosphere of claustrophobia, and a cold shiver runs down your spine as you survey the parquet floors. The wooden wainscoting sits in silent testimony to the horrors that have transpired over the years. Despite polished surfaces, there's a heavy musk within each air particle that could never be scrubbed away. You can almost see the shadows etched by the past. Recall the role you once played among them. Usually looks pretty nice in here for an orphanage. How are you doing, worried sister? Sister behind the counter is so focused on chewing her lip and reading over a piece of parchment, she hasn't even noticed my appearance. The counter she stands at is so scuffed and scratched it looks like it's been in a war, possibly too. Ah, yes. Is there something I can, why are you here? Sister smiles rigidly, a weird heat in her eyes. Her lips quiver as if, were she to stop smiling, some dark energy would encroach even further upon Sacred Heart. Name's Atticus Daly. Did you know Sister Heloise? Indeed I did, God rest her soul. You may pay your respects up in our churchyard. I'm Sister Susanna. Was that all you wanted? There's nothing urgent. I should get back to my duties. Oh, she's busy, all right. Somewhere deep in her own mind. Let's see. Spry or wit? I forget what was my main trait. Black bile? Self-discipline? Self-discipline and wit are my best. Gotcha. My mother abandoned me at Sacred Heart many years ago. I want to see the note she left me. Oh, I see. Well, you know we can't allow anyone to just poke through our files. Well, let's return the cellar keys first and foremost. I found these keys lying around. You wouldn't want the residents to be running around unlocking all kinds of doors, would you? Oh, heavens no. It's cold enough with the doors being left open. We're having the interior locks changed, but we can't change the others without permission from the parish. Thank you for bringing these to me. Offer to make up for your past transgressions. Bit of other business as well, you see. I left the orphanage and I stole some money from the office. That is quite a shameful thing to do, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be forgiven. Hand her the bank draft. I should have never done it, but now I wish to make amends. Please accept this gift to Sacred Heart. Oh, this is a bank draft and it's worth 40 shillings. How generous of you. I commend you, Atticus. Put a sock in it, crone. Bloody hell. It's like she doesn't think I have any sort of moral compass. This may not seem like a lot of money, but I promise every farthing will go towards the children's care and placing them in paying jobs. There's a half second of hope in her eyes, immediately overpowered by trepidation. This key's from the cabinet in the office. Perhaps your mother's note is in there, but I can't be sure. Cannot leave my desk or I wouldn't take you there myself. Let's ask her something else. Much obliged, good sister. May I ask you something else? Of course, son. What's on your mind? Well, now that I've buttered her bread a little bit, let's ask about the police presence. Forgive my curiosity, but can you provide any details about what the police watch being here. Well, 2 of my charge were stolen from their beds in the dead of night, so the police are here in whatever capacity they deem necessary. Between you and me, I doubt there'll be any help at all. It's usually how it goes with the bobbies. Farewell, sister. Now charges. Right? Where did I come from? Let's see. Kitchen door, enter the office, dining hall. Can I get over here? Oh. Sometimes the camera makes it seem like I can't get somewhere. I can. Dusty bookcase. Worn out Bibles and books on theology, competing against piles of dust for shelf space. What's that in the empty cabinet? Bully! It's a handful of glinting gears. I can fetch a price for these from an engine man. Guest ledger. For the few visitors who make the trip to Sacred Heart, just a couple of notes and signatures and a smattering of doodles by the orphans.